Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back. Welcome to Let's Play Out of the Park Baseball 22. For those of you who don't know, Foolish Baseball started as an Out of the Park Baseball channel. Out of the Park Baseball is a series of games for the PC and Mac and Linux, I believe, which simulate the job of a GM and manager. And that's what I'll be doing. I'll be simulating the job of a GM slash manager, in this case, for the Texas Rangers. And, to those of you who are really familiar with Out of the Park Baseball, I think you're going to really enjoy this. For those of you who maybe don't know what this is, guys, I got you. I started teaching Out of the Park Baseball. That's how I started out. I made tutorials for it. Then I did a Let's Play where I played as the White Sox for 5 seasons, ultimately culminating in, spoiler alert, okay, I gave a little pause there. World Series. We won the World Series in year 5. This time around, I don't think I'm going 5 years, at least not immediately. I'm going to try to get to like 3. And I'm hoping within that 3, I will have the Rangers in a spot where they are ready to compete. That's my goal. I don't know if that means make the playoffs. I don't know if that means win the World Series. But we're going to leave them much better than they started. And I also have some interest in the Rangers because I actually wrote their essay for the Baseball Prospectus Annual this year, so check that out as well. But yes, I'll be first starting off with the settings. And I'll have to apologize because I'm a little bit rusty. I haven't played too much in the last couple years, but we are going to start off with these settings. I'm just going to kind of show you all, what I've been up to because I don't play on the default settings. First thing I did, injuries, I moved those up from normal, which is OOTP Classic, to high, realistic, modern day. I think having the high frequency of injuries, which is actually more realistic, will be a good thing for this series. I think it'll give me more work to do, more challenges, more emphasis on depth as the season goes on because guys are going to get hurt. And, we're seeing it in MLB right now. It just seems like every star player has gotten hurt and missed at least some time. So to have it on high, I think, is a pretty fair thing to do. Player personality ratings. I like to show player personality ratings on profile page. For those of you unfamiliar with OOTP, team chemistry is a big thing, and each player has these different personality ratings. And what you try to do is you try to get a good locker room, because if you can get a good locker room, you can kind of overperform your expectations. If you have a bad locker room, you can actually make a good team go really bad. Things go really bad for you if you lose the locker room. So you need that. And so what this simply does is display sort of the different facets of their personality and how they can help the team or hurt the team. Batting aging speed and pitcher aging speed, I set these at 800. So their players are going to age a little bit slower than they normally would in the game. I'm starting to think that actually 1,000 is realistic. In years past, people had advocated for 750 or even as low as 600. I'm starting to think that 1,000, which is the default, is realistic, but I'm going to leave it at 800 because that's what I'm used to doing. Talent change randomness, 135. This comes as 100 on default. I like to bump it up. I like Max Muncies. We live in an era of player development, and what happens is, there's a lot of 25, 26, 27-year-olds, heck, even older guys who, they're one pitch away. They're one swing change away from being a big deal in the majors, but they're stuck in the minors or they're stuck in, indie ball or something like that. I like those stories, and by bumping up the talent change randomness, I can actually get more of that. So I'm for it. AI settings. So these are the default trait settings right here. Generally, I play with these somewhere between here, if I'm really looking for the challenge, or I'll sometimes go around here. I'm going to leave on default. And the reason why I'm leaving it on default is because this is my first series back. I just kind of want to take it easy. So these are actually the default settings. As far as trading preference, I have bumped it up to favor prospects a little bit. I have found in my testing, a lot of people do this to make the game difficult. The problem is I think if you do this, it actually becomes easier to trade for like established MLB talent. And it's like the established MLB guys almost become undervalued if you make it so that the AI heavily prefers prospects. So I'm going to leave it here. It's kind of like a nice compromise. But yes, in terms of easy, hard, we'll definitely be on medium, which for the experienced player, of OOTP is closer to an easy for them because, as the game goes along, you start to figure out how to exploit the trade AI. The trade AI is better than this in this than it is in a lot of the mainstream sports games. Don't get me wrong, it is better, but with anything, there's little tips and tricks you can pick up to do some fleecing. And I'm not above that. I'm going to try to do some fleecing because I'm going to try to get this team good in a pretty short time frame. Big thing I want to get across to y'all right now. This is going to be accelerated, okay? We're trying to fit like 5 seasons worth of content in 3. So what that really means is, I'm going to be making moves from day one. So Rangers fans, deal with it. If I trade your favorite player, deal with it. I'm going to be making moves from day one because, time is precious. My time is precious, quite frankly. More time I spend recording this, that means less time making baseball bits. I know you like the baseball bits. And let's be honest, baseball bits pays the bills. That's the saying in my household. Anyways, sorry for my little rant. Player evaluation AI settings, these are different numbers. I changed them to this. They aren't completely different. This is like a 65 usually, but I changed them to this. I like this. I like how it looks. League settings. Haven't done too much here. As you can see, designated hitter rule is still turned off for the National League. So we are playing a pretty realistic 2021 season. The pitcher will hit in the National League. We don't have to worry about that too much because we're an American League team. Modified extra innings, I turned that off. I just don't like it. I just don't care for it. And you know what? It's my world. One thing you can do here is, so these Silver Slugger and Gold Glove, these names are actually copyrighted. So when the game ships to you, by default, this will be called the Platinum Stick Award, and this will be called the Great Glove Award. What you can do is you can just go simply change them to their proper names. They're copyrighted, but you can just go ahead and change them. There's one more thing I did that I wanted to show y'all. Is it here? Yeah. Okay, so I disabled automatic evolution of the league. What this means is basically the league settings as they stand will stay throughout the rest of the series. That means, the DH rule will not be introduced. There won't be extra roster spots. The length of your stays on the injured list won't change. That basically just means we have halted the league settings as it is. So those are the settings I'm on. It's pretty basic with some quality of life tweaks. Yeah, actually, that's not everything. There's one very important thing that I forgot to mention, and when I find it, you guys are going to be happy that I remembered to mention it. Is it here? No, it's here. The coaching system. This is new to OOTP 22, so I'm going to be kind of learning with you all as we go along because I have not played too much OOTP 22. But this is kind of the new thing they're using to sell the game, the coaching system. What I've done is I've actually turned off coach cohesion impact. So remember when I was talking about player chemistry earlier? What I've done is I've disabled the chemistry for the coaches themselves. The sort of coaches have their own personality ratings now, and now they're going to affect how they work with each other. I turned that off. The reason I turned that off is not because I don't think I can handle it, it's because I do think it's busy work. It's busy work to kind of make this to do the right thing there, and I think I'm just going to leave it as none for now. However, I will still be using the rest of the coaching system, which I'll show you all in a little bit. So let's hop over to our personnel, because I've already made big changes there, starting with just the whole staff. So I'm the GM and manager, Foolish Baseball. I've hired Theo Epstein as my assistant GM. I've hired him away from Commissioner's office. I think that's where he is right now. He's trying to fix the game. And I said, no, Theo, we need the 3 true outcomes. Stop trying to make baseball better. Get over here, assistant GM. Bench coach is Byron Nichols. I don't know too much about this guy in real life, but he's going to be our bench coach. Matthew Blackford and Matthew Johnson. I got a couple Aussie Mats here as my hitting and pitching coach. Once I hired one, I was like, might as well hire the other, right? My first base coach is Jose Oquendo. I'm very excited about that. We're going to be able to utilize Mr. Oquendo very well in this coaching system, and I'll show you why in a little bit. And Jorge Herrera is there as my third base coach. He's really only there because he has good development ratings. Can I show that? Handles development. Excellent. So we're still learning here. Roy Clark I've hired as my scouting director. This is probably the most important thing you can do in any OOTP when you start off like a new vanilla save. Hire Rick Jameson. Just hire him. Just, give old Tricky Ricky however much money he wants because he has legendary prevent arm injuries, and that's going to save you headaches throughout the course of multiple seasons. And look, players are still going to get arm injuries. I have injury frequency on high. Last time I played with Tricky Ricky, my rotation was getting wiped out, but I accepted that. And I accepted that Tricky Ricky was mitigating the damage. And I have to respect that. So rule number 1 of OOTP, I would say, respect Tricky Ricky and what he can bring to the team. Staff role. So this is part of the stuff that's new. Now we can assign different coaches to teach different positions, which is very cool. So Byron Nichols, he's going to teach running. Byron Nichols, he's going to teach outfield. Jose Oquendo, the legend, he's outstanding at teaching infield and outstanding at teaching catcher. So, and he's really just good at teaching everything, but he can only teach 2 things. He can't teach, catcher, infield, and outfield. So this is how I have it set up. And I think it's fine. I see green. I see blue. I'm happy. So yeah, let's go ahead and meet the team real quick. And I say real quick because this is not going to be the team by opening day. It's March 26, 2021. We've got about a week till opening day. And I'm going to be making a lot of moves. So we're going to introduce the team real quick, but it's really when we get back to opening day, what we're going to have to do is go through the new team that I've built. Because, like I said, this is an accelerated rebuild. I'm going to do an unrealistic amount of trades in a short time frame, and you're just going to have to deal with it if you don't like that. It's going to be probably more entertaining. There's going to be more action that way. But yeah, if you're looking for ultra realism, this probably isn't it. Anyways, Leody Taveras, he's a good defensive center fielder. He's young. Bat's coming along. His expectation is to be a bench player. I imagine that's what he'll be. I think he'll be bench more platoon guy than starting center fielder when I'm done. I need that bat to develop before he can really be an everyday player. So that means bringing that contact from a 45 to a 55, first of all. And then we can talk about it. Nick Solak, he can hit. Can he field? Hey, he's fine, Nate Lowe is probably looking like maybe the best, maybe not the best player on the team, but maybe the most valuable potentially going forward. He's young, he's cost controlled. He's got great hitting stats. He plays first base. I like him a lot. This is a player, I'm going to be doing a lot of moving around, but this is a player I could see sticking with for the long run. So Nate Lowe, hope he's a part of our future success to come. David Dahl, he's a solid defender, but the hitting stats don't do it for me. He's fragile. I'm not excited by these ratings. Eli White, he's a guy, Ronald Guzman, to be honest with you, he's a guy too. He's just a guy, Kiner Falefa is not just a guy. He has defensive versatility, and his expectation is still bench player. Again, I think kind of like Taveras, this is a guy who, as you start the save, he's in the starting lineup. But once I get some of my own guys in, he's probably going to be a utility player. But you know what? He's probably going to be a great utility player. Kohei Arihara is really good. That's one thing about this game is a lot of the Japanese and the KBO talent that comes over is really good. That's one way to definitely get on top in this game is to see who's coming over from NPB and KBO every year. Because oftentimes there's really good players that you can sign and they won't cost too much. So I like Arihara. He's not the type of pitcher I usually go for. I like strikeout guys, but I think he'll work. Kyle Gibson, he's a guy. You've heard of Kyle Gibson. Dane Dunning, they traded him, they acquired him in the Lance Lynn trade. I must say, I like Dane Dunning more in real life than I do in OOTP. So we'll put it that way. I don't think he's terrible in OOTP. Fulte, 1-year deal. And if he pitches well, he's out of here. And even if he doesn't pitch well, he's out of here. Jordan Lyles, 1 year left on his deal. These guys, I don't know if they'll be in the rotation or not, but if they are, what they'll be there to do is be trade bait around the trade deadline so we can flip them for, prospects, basically. That's the bullpen. Matt Bush, Taylor Hearn, Brett DeGuss, who is a Rule 5 draft pick, so we'll have to keep him on the roster if you want to keep him long term. Josh Spores, John King, Ian Kennedy, you can read. We've got some injuries here for sure. Odor is hurt, but he only hurt for one more day. DeMarcus Evans is a big relief prospect I've seen do good things. Willie Calhoun is a guy who, in my White Sox save, came up huge for me. He's been kind of an OOTP legend. He's been an easy guy to trade for in previous games, and he could always rake. The tricky part was finding a position for him to play, and oftentimes the answer to that was just DH. His hitting stats aren't great in this one. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not jump off the page, so I'm not nearly as excited for him. Chris Davis, kind of the same thing, to be honest with you. I'm not super excited about these guys. Jose Leclerc, though, solid. There's some solid relievers on there, but Leclerc he's out for 14 months with TJ, so that's the team. Yeah, and honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start making moves, and I'm going to document them as we go, because this team's going to look really different by opening day, and I just want to kind of prepare you guys for that. So let's get going, wheeling and or dealing. All right, hands up. My bad, team. Trading difficulty. Had it at medium in the default, started making some trades. It was like taking candy from a baby. It really was. So I'm just going to bump this up to here. It'll still be easy, I guess, but it won't be like stupid easy. So yeah, these are the actual trade settings I'm going to use for the series. Just update that. Just put it in your mind, okay? I'm not a medium guy. I'm a somewhat more difficult than medium guy, but certainly not a hard difficulty guy. I mean, I'm not really Theo Epstein. First deal on the table, and I think this trade is indicative of what direction I'm trying to take the team in so many ways. My philosophy right now, guys, I'm just going to get players that I like. I'm just going to get players that I like, and then I'm going to worry about fitting them into the team later, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to acquire talent, and then it'll be my job to figure out, oh, this guy plays here, So I actually showed some restraint here. I could have gotten away with giving away less, but I'll be sending off David Dahl. Why am I sending off David Dahl? Because his contract expires at the end of the season. He's not in the long-term picture. I'm also going to be sending off Cole Winn, and if you're a Rangers fan, you probably are familiar with who this is. This was there, according to the history tab, 2018 first-round draft pick. He pitched, made his pro debut in 2019. My scout, who I just hired, does not like him as much as the OSA. OSA is sort of like the, consensus. This is, it's like it'll give you ratings, but you should trust your scout most of the time. And my scout likes him less, so he's pessimistic on him. And so I'm going to trust my scout, and I'm going to trade Cole Winn, the former first rounder. And who am I going to get? Young, cost-controlled. I like Chas McCormick. He can play corner, and he can play corner well. Why do I like him? 55 contact, 55 eye, 65 avoid Ks. This to me is the profile of a player who can get on base. And it's Moneyball. He gets on base. Blake Taylor, he's a good reliever. Brandon Bielak, this is the type of pitcher you should absolutely be trading for in OOTP. It could be a Brandon Bielak, could be a Corbin Martin, maybe we'll look at later. But any of these guys who have like expectation to be in the bullpen but are young and capable of being starters and wouldn't be in their team's rotation normally, like this guy's not going to start the season in Houston's rotation, that's a good player to trade for. But yeah, this is indicative of the direction I'm going. Because one thing I got to say, how am I going to win with this team? We're going to play good defense. We got that. We're going to get on base. And we're gonna have a good bullpen. That's very important to me. I think just in terms of overachieving this game, 3 things you can focus on: team chemistry, defense, bullpen. If you do that, you can overachieve. And that's what we're gonna have to do if we're gonna compete. We're gonna overachieve. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna hopefully fleece the division rival Houston Astros. Trade number 1. Let's just trade within the division. Why not? Theo Epstein says that he gets heartburn just thinking about this proposal, but I'm telling you what, David Forst, Billy Bean, I'm coming for y'all. I have you all tricked, and I am playing 4-dimensional chess on the Moneyball A's. I'm sending Colby Allard, who's seen better days for his prospect pedigree. Still got some nice ratings. I'm looking at it. I'm still thinking, he's got some nice ratings. He could work out. And Jose Acosta, he is a first base prospect. He could play some other positions, though. And I'm going to be trading him for AJ Puck. I like AJ Puck, and I'll tell you why. Pitches. This guy's just, look at these pitches. He's nasty. I'm trading Colby Allard, who's not nasty. He's polished, but he's not nasty, for AJ Puck. Both these guys have seen better days in terms of their prospect pedigree, but if you're giving me a choice between Allard and Puck, I will happily throw in Mr. Jose Acosta, Mr. Bean, and Mr. Forst. There you are. Deal done. While we're in the Bay Area, might as well cross the bridge, head on over to San Francisco, try to get a deal done, and I think we have one. Eli White, we're sending him over. I don't really care about Eli White. Keithron Moss, who's a infield prospect, only 19, we're going to send him over too. In return, we get Mauricio Dubon, and I'm excited for him. He has the potential to be a contributor to this team because I think he has the potential to be a plus center fielder, and that would be huge for us. And even if he's not quite that, he can be a utility player as well. So, again, we like the player. We'll figure out where they fit in later. But, yeah, Dubon, welcome. All right, so my next trade is a salary dump in every sense of the word. I will be dumping Rougned Odor, specifically 40% of his salary. So about $6 million per year for the next 2 years. That'll be dumped onto Washington, and I will retain 60% of his contract. I'll also be sending them Andy Ibanez, Brock Holt, Jonah Heim, and David Garcia for their trouble. In return, I get Tanner Driscoll, which is basically nothing. So we are in the red in terms of our budget space. We could get out of that by sort of reallocating money from player development in the draft, but I don't really want to do that. So we're going to definitely be making some trades with getting cash in mind, getting cash available to us so that we can spend in free agency following this season. So we're going to go ahead and make that trade. Rougned Odor is out of town, just like he is in real life. The next move I'm going to do is just go ahead and trade Joey Gallo. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to be happy with that. Joey Gallo has a very extreme profile, both in this game and real life. 70 home run power, 70 discipline, really good defender, especially in a corner outfield spot. The thing about Joey Gallo is, like, the CPU really values him, and I'm going to be able to get a lot in return for him. I don't know if the real-life Texas Rangers have Joey Gallo in their long-term plans. I don't know if they'll trade him this year. I don't know if he'll walk in free agency or what, or if they'll try to extend him, but in terms of this save, I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys know. I'm going to go ahead and trade him. Seattle. Joey Gallo is going to Seattle in a big blockbuster trade. We're going to talk about it right now. We send Gallo, and we also send Sam Huff. And he's a big prospect for Texas in real life right now. He's a big power-hitting catcher. He's really good. However, we're going to get someone very similar to him in return. So I think that kind of makes it okay to lose him. Dane Acker came over in the trade for when they sent off Chris Davis and when we got Chris Davis and Jonah Heim, and we sent off Elvis Andrus. So he's going to go to Seattle now. In return, we'll get J.P. Crawford. J.P. Crawford's a good get here. He's kind of like Kiner Falefa, but like a better version of him. He doesn't have Kiner Falefa's versatility, but he can play the shortstop position about as well as Kiner Falefa can, and I think he can hit better. So we're going to get him. Another big thing is that, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, with our owner goals. One of our owner goals is to acquire a Gold Glove winner, and we're going to do that by acquiring J.P. Crawford. Taylor Trammell, I think, is a huge get for us potentially. One reason I really like him in the outfield, in some ways as a Gallo replacement, is that he's a captain, and that's big. We're trying to work on our defense, of course. We're trying to work on our locker room chemistry, and getting a captain in there, which we don't actually have on the team yet, that makes a huge difference. So we're going to get him. And what's the third thing I said we're going to focus on in terms of overachieving? We have team chemistry. We have defense with Crawford. Third thing is bullpen. So we're going to get Rafael Montero in return. That's big for us. We're going to get Wyatt Mills in return. And then sort of as our Sam Huff replacement, we're going to get Cal Raleigh. And Cal Raleigh's, right, maybe Raleigh is how you would say that. Cal Raleigh is very similar to Sam Huff, big power hitting catcher. I just think he might be slightly better, though. So we're going to go with Cal Raleigh to replace Sam Huff. And we're going to make this trade. As Theo Epstein says, make it happen is my advice. Make it happen, we shall. Trade. Another trade coming in. The big name that's going in this deal is Maximo Acosta. He's 18 years old. And according to OSA in particular, he looks like he could be a beast of a prospect at shortstop. Our scout is a little more pessimistic on him, but this is still a really good player if he develops all the way. But he's 18. We're trying to accelerate things. Ron Guzman, I'm just looking at this team. He doesn't really have a place on this team. I'm a big Nate Lowe believer. Chris Sizey is going to go. Again, could be a solid player. And then Jordan Lyles is going to go, but we're going to cover his whole contract. Main reason I'm trading Jordan Lyles, I think he'd be solid, but his personality class is selfish, and we're really trying to get the locker room in good spirits. So if he's going to be a troublemaker, we're just going to let him go. In return, we're going to get JB Bukowskis, who, looks like he could be sort of like a relief ace for us. And then Taylor Widener, who I'm probably going to move to the rotation. I could also move Bukowskis to the rotation, but Widener has 55 stamina, whereas Bukowskis has 40 stamina. That makes a difference. So that's going to be my trade. We're getting some young pitching in return for all these guys. It's a big trade to make, but I think it'll help us get better, particularly in the short term. One last trade here before we hit the road on this season. We're going to trade Justin Foscue, who is our 2020 first rounder out of Mississippi State. Cole Raggins is just a random reliever thrown in that they wanted. We're trading him to Tampa. We're going to do some prospect swapping. In return, we'll get Drew Strotman, who's a really nasty starting pitcher. He's a little bit on the older side, but as you can see, his repertoire has a lot of potential. If he can continue to develop, he could be, a member of the rotation, potentially. But the bigger get is Vidal Brujan, who's, top 100 prospect and someone who could definitely play, any spot in the infield long term. So obviously we'll be really excited to have him in our system. He becomes immediately, I think, one of the best prospects we have. So we're going to go ahead and make that trade. All right, I know that was a lot of trades to take in, but that's just kind of going to be my style. A lot of people, when they start up an OOTP save, especially one like this that's a rebuild, yeah, they might trade some guys for prospects, but then they'll just kind of run through the season and they'll tank basically, and then they'll get good draft picks. For me, I just want to kind of keep things accelerated, and that means, starting to put together the team of the future from day one. So that's what I was just trying to do there. Speaking of teams of the future, though, we're going to look at our prospects right now. What I've done is I've put all the prospects that I think concern me in a good way, that I'll be taking control of their destiny in a way. Taking all these prospects that I like, and what I'm going to do is manually manage what levels they're playing at. So I've already done that. Bayron Lora is one of them. His ratings in terms of the game aren't that crazy, but I felt like adding him because he's kind of a big deal Rangers prospect in real life. He'll make his pro debut this year, and I'm excited to see him. He has some crazy exit velocity. I think he's going to hit for a lot of power. He's just really talented. So, if he's not a big deal in this save, that doesn't really bother me, but I just felt like I should add him because he's a pretty big prospect for them in real life. One who I'm not that familiar with is Yason Morabel, who is 17. We'll also be starting him in the Dominican Rookie League later this year, and he actually has better ratings, I would say, than Bayron Lora. But yeah, again, these guys are a long way out. So these are our rookie ball guys. The final rookie ball guy is Evan Carter, who is the second rounder from the 2020 draft. He has some power. that's Evan Carter for you. So we're going to be keeping an eye on him. Drew Strotman, who I traded for, I'm going to start him in high A. I thought about starting him in double A, but I'm going to start him in high A, and if he gets off to a hot start in high A, he could be in double A pretty soon. But he's acquired in that trade I just showed you with Tampa. Luis Angel Acuna is actually the, I believe, cousin of Ronald Acuna Jr., and I got to say, he's looking like he could be a decent ball player on his own. Our scout isn't so sure he's going to be like a good contact or gap power guy, but OSA thinks that. And either way, they see him as a disciplined hitter. And when you have a disciplined hitter who could play, shortstop well, or even like a really, really good third base, I think that's someone worth keeping an eye on for now. There's one more prospect I just realized I want to add to this list. It's Anderson Tejeda. I'll add him after this, but he's probably going to be in AAA to start the year. Zion Bannister. There you go. He's from the Bahamas. That's cool. Again, they aren't going to knock your socks off, but these are guys I want to pay attention to. Here's another pitcher. We don't have that many pitchers, but here's one. Ronnie Henriquez only has a 2-star potential, according to my scout. But if you look at the repertoire, he could have, good fastball, good slider, good splitter, good stuff overall. So we're going to keep an eye on him. He's only 20, and he's going to start in low A. But, very good chance he gets to high A, potentially even double A if he pitches extremely well this year. So that's where he's going to start. I guess this is just A. I guess it's not really low A. Well, I don't know. We'll think about it. I guess, so there's high A, I know that, but then I guess what we kind of refer to as low A doesn't really exist anymore, if that makes sense, with the minor leagues contracting. Anyways, Vidal Brujan is going to start in double A for us. One of those things where he could be in triple A to end the year, and there's an outside chance he could be in with the Rangers, with the big league club. He's one of the better prospects we have for sure. He will be a Frisco Rough Rider. Josh Jung is hurt. Again, this guy's a pretty big prospect for the Rangers in real life, one of their top prospects. He's hurt. He'll be back in 5 weeks, but when he is healthy, he will return to the Frisco Rough Riders. Cal Raleigh is the biggest prospect we acquired. He's interesting to me. He's a guy. This contact is going to be so important to get that from a 40 to a 45 somehow. And he's 24, so he's almost, done developing. Finishing off the job here and moving this contact up and this eye discipline up, that's what's going to make all the difference for him. And if he can do that, he's going to be great. If not, he'll just be kind of a player. But yeah, he has the potential for stardom, obviously. And so yeah, we're just kind of hoping he's, we're hoping for a better hitter than Mike Zunino. That's what I'm going to say. See, I hope he's better than Mike Zunino. Sherten Apostle, he's in AAA, solid player. I'm a big fan of his in real life. Is he going to be an impact superstar at the major league level in this save? I don't really think so, but he's there. Yanni Hernandez, similar thing. He's kind of like Anderson Tejeda, to be honest. Again, as I said, I'll add to this list, and we're getting into our AAA guys here. Wyatt Mills, I traded for in that trade with Seattle, that big blockbuster that sent Joey Gallo away. He's a relief pitching prospect, so with the bullpen, what I'm going to be doing is really honing in on just riding the hot hands. If there's guys that are having great seasons in AAA, a guy like Wyatt Mills, going to be up in the majors pretty quickly if that's the case, because I want to ride the hot hand in the bullpen. Dennis Santana, who I just traded for off screen. I traded away Keegan Aiken, who I traded for off screen. But yeah, if that makes sense. What did I give? I gave up Brett DeGus, who's the Rule 5, and Takao Roby, who's a third rounder for them in 2020. However, Takao Roby, Scout didn't really care for him. So I was like, all right, I'll trade him. So anyways, it ended up bringing us Dennis Santana. This is a good player to have. He's a solid pitcher. You could toss him in the rotation. You could toss him in the bullpen. As for now, I like having him in AAA because it gives us depth. And then DeMarcus Evans, who's hurt. He has about 1 more week of recovery time. He'll probably start the season in AAA. And then from there, it's pretty much the same situation as Wyatt Mills. I imagine both Mills and Evans will pitch in the majors at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if Santana pitched in the majors too. So those are our prospects slash minor league guys that we're gonna have to be paying attention to. One more move I would like to make before opening day is to get another catcher for the 40 man. I'll have to look through, try to find someone who fits that. But let's go ahead and get to know our lineup. So what did I say? I said defense was going to be big. I said team chemistry was going to be big. I said bullpen was going to be big. Those three things I felt like were the key to overachieving with a not so amazing roster. And that's what we have. We have a not so amazing roster. In terms of our overalls, we top out of 3 stars out of 5. A big thing I'm going to be doing is platooning. So there's going to be a lot of rotating, players depending on whether we're facing righty or lefty. And I think you're going to see that. So here's our lineup that I have set myself against right-handed pitching. Nick Solak's going to lead off for us against right-handed pitching, and he's going to play second base. Nate Lowe is going to hit second. He's probably the best hitter on the team, so I decided to hit him second. He's going to play first base for us. Justin Williams, I traded for. I sent away Scott Barlow, who, again, I sent full T and a prospect for him. So it's a whole thing. But basically, we got Justin Williams, and I'm really excited to have him. He's a good player to trade for. So he's going to bat third, play right field. CJ Crone, I traded for to just trade some smaller minor prospects. He is on a 1-year deal. I just felt like we didn't have any power, and I wanted at least somebody who could hit home runs. So that's what CJ Crone's hopefully going to do. If CJ Crone fails to do that, then maybe Chris Davis tries to do that job. If CJ Crone gets off to a hot start, then maybe Chris Davis doesn't have a role to play in this team. So it's all about that competition, Mauricio Dubon, who we traded for, you saw that. He's going to start in center field against right-handed pitching. Taylor Trammell, he's going to start in left field against right-handed pitching. This guy's a left-handed hitter. We've got some lefties there with Lowe, Justin Williams, Taylor Trammell. Kiner Falefa, the one position I didn't really address was third base, and I wasn't really intending to have Kiner Falefa play there, but I like him. He's going to be one of the lightest hitting third basemen in the league, but, he's going to play good defense, so that's nice. Kiner Falefa, third base, Crawford, shortstop. I mean, that's the kind of defense I'm looking for. Maybe not the offense I'm looking for, but yeah, speaking of Crawford, there he is. Left-handed hitter against right-handed pitching. And then Jose Trevino. Jose Trevino is actually going to be pretty key for this team. He has that 70 catcher ability, so he actually really fits what I'm trying to do. Is he going to hit particularly well? I can't imagine, but with that catcher ability, he's going to be helping our pitchers a lot. For those who don't know, catcher ability is kind of akin to framing, so we're hoping for we're hoping for a Jeff Mathesy performance, honestly, defensively, but with better offense. So that's going to be key for us. I also brought up Drew Butera from AAA to the majors to serve as our backup catcher. Keep in mind, Jonah Heim, Sam Huff, they're gone. So I brought in Drew Butera. Another thing Drew Butera brings to the table is that he's a captain. And not only is he a captain, Taylor Trammell is also a captain. So we're really getting that locker room chemistry going. Now, look at this lineup. It's pretty interesting. Against lefties, it is totally different. And that's actually what I kind of enjoy about this team. Against lefties, Chas McCormick is going to lead off. Okay, so he's not even playing against righties. He's going to lead off against lefties. And again, he's got some platoon splits. What we're going to be really doing is playing the hot hand. If some of these guys get hot, they're going to stop being platoon bats and start being full-time bats. But Chas McCormick, that's what he's going to do. He's going to play right field, and he is going to hit against left-handed pitching as our leadoff hitter. Nick Solak, who I'm so glad I haven't traded, to be honest with you. Nick Solak, he loves the left-handed pitching, so he's going to hit second for us. He's probably going to be our best hitter ratings-wise against left-handed pitching. That's going to drop Nate Lowe to third. CJ Crone's going to hit fourth against lefties. He's he's a cleanup hitter for us. Mauricio Dubon is going to play and bat fifth against these lefties. He's also a very good hitter against the lefties. However, he's going to play second base. And that's what you get when you have a team like this. You look at our guys. We got Kiner Falefa. We got Solak. We have, Charlie Culberson. we have a lot of guys that can play a lot of positions, and I'm really interested in using that as an advantage. So you could see, against righties, we have Solak at second and Dubon in center. How about this? We have Solak in left and then Dubon at second base. So we're going to keep it rotating. And then that's going to put Charlie Culberson at third. Again, he's a better hitter versus the lefties too. So we're going to play Charlie Culberson at third against the lefties, batting sixth. Kiner Falefa moves over to shortstop, which benches Crawford, and then Trevino, and then Leody Taveras, big prospect in real life. We're going to be using that 70 outfield range. So he's going to, he's going to be roaming the outfield, and that's going to be a defensive boost for us over if it was like Dubon or Trammell in center. So that's the way I have the offense set up. I like it. It's light hitting, but hopefully we're going to have, the bullpen and the defense and the locker room chemistry to help this team overachieve. Because I'm not looking to tank. That's a big thing. I'm not looking to tank. I don't have time to tank. Let's look at our pitching. So pitching, we're going to have Arihara start opening day. I like him. I do. He's different from the type of pitcher I usually go for, but I do like him, and I hope he'll do well for us. Coming over from NPB. Kyle Gibson, he's on a 2-year deal. Let's see. Well, he was a 3-year deal. That's right. So 2 years left in his deal, $17 million over those 2 years. And then he's going to be number 2 pitcher for us. There's really nothing special about him in this game, to be honest with you. But he's got 65 stamina, so that's innings. And if he pitches well, maybe he's, trade deadline bait. I think that's possible. AJ Puck, who we traded for, he's going to be the sole lefty, 6'7", nasty repertoire. He's going to be our number 3. Brandon Belak, who we acquired from Houston, he's number 4. Taylor Widener from Arizona, he's number 5. And I think these two, Belak, Widener, Corbin Martin, even Dennis Santana, those are the types of guys that are generally good to get in this game and not too hard to acquire in a lot of circumstances. Here's the bullpen. And again, like I said, we're really hoping on this bullpen being good. But it's not just these 8 guys. We have guys in the minors. There's more to this bullpen than what you see right here. But this is how I have it set up right now. What I use the stopper roll with some frequency. So this is what that looks like. And so, Montero is going to be our equivalent to like a closer. And so that's what he's going to be. I like him. Blake Taylor is going to be our equivalent of the setup man. He's a lefty. He has really great ratings. Bukauskas is maybe the most talented pitcher on this team. He just doesn't have major league experience, so we're going to try him first in the stopper type role. If he has trouble with that, maybe it's a middle relief type role. And honestly, if he excels here, then maybe this is one of those like Chris Sale in the bullpen, Michael Kopech in the bullpen type of deals where we think to ourselves, hey, this is our relief ace now, but for the future, he's in the rotation. That's kind of what I'm hoping for Bukauskas. Taylor Hearn is going to be a middle reliever for us, also a lefty specialist, if need be. Matt Bush coming back for his first game since 2019. First game in the majors since 2018, even potentially. We have him. I'm just gonna toss a middle relief. He's a really interesting story. For those of you who don't know, I would just say look it up. Ian Kennedy, these are where the old guys are going, middle relief. Ian Kennedy, by the way, having a pretty great start to his year in real life. Hyunjung Yang, the second pitcher from East Asia, he's from South Korea. He came over. He's going to be long relief for us. Dane Dunning, he's going to be in long relief for us. These two guys, if something happens in the rotation, these guys go in the rotation. So that's pretty much how that pitching is going to work. And I'm pretty pleased with it. Here's the thing. It's the AL West. Houston is getting older. They could fade. Oakland doesn't have any money. Angels are a mess. Mariners, that's what we're trying to do, I think. Our competition is, someone's going to take control of this division in the next few years. And I imagine this is true for real life as well. And we want it to be us. And we want to, even though we're starting our rebuild later than the Mariners, we want to beat them to the punch. So that's, in some ways, that's our biggest competition. So That's what I like. I was playing around as the Rockies a little bit earlier, and it was just so hard with the Dodgers and the Padres being what they are. But in this, I feel like the division is much more open to a team like us. So, guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. We're gonna play opening day in episode 2, and then do the first half of the season. But I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy what I've tried to build so far. And yeah, I promise I don't think all the episodes will be this long. I think they'll be shorter. But hope you all enjoy the Texas Rangers series. I've already started to build the team in my image. Now the question is, can we win? Let's find out.